Yo guys, what is up? This is Slim Shady Graphics here to bring you back another top 5 plus games for your Chromebook. You guys definitely enjoyed my last videos before and I wanted to bring it back again. So anyways, let us get right into the video. So the first game that we're going to be taking a look at today is called Bullet Force. This is a game that's available on crazygames.com. And there's a lot of other WebGL games that we'll be looking over before we get to the next thing. For this whole list in general though, I'm going to be mostly talking about games from a couple different websites and of course from the Chrome Web Store. So you don't have to worry about that as much. I'll let you guys know what games are available on what. So for Bullet Force right here, this is available on mobile devices as well. So maybe there's cross compatibility. It is something I have not checked yet. And there's, if you actually go into the settings of the game, you'll be able to set for low graphics settings and all that and such to help with the performance on whatever device you have. For this game, it actually runs pretty well, but if you want to boost up the performance, you can lower the resolution a little bit, and there is a few options that you can kind of change as well in the Chrome flags menu. If you don't know how to get there, you just do Chrome with 2 dots on top of each other, and then 2 slashes, and then flags. And that'll bring you to the site here, and you can just do the same settings that I have, and it should be able to help you in general when it comes to it. So you don't have any problems there, and it'll boost up your performance a little bit when playing your game. Another thing that you could do as well is going to the task manager, which I'll show you guys in a second, and ending all these tasks or a few tasks that you have that are being used up by extensions and such. They'll help you with having more RAM usage, so you don't have to worry as too much when it comes to that in general. You don't have to worry about performance just lagging out like crazy, especially with another tab open and anything like that, because you have these extensions running. But ending them, of course, will help a little bit. This is usually an easy way of boosting performance up that many other YouTubers show, and a lot of other kid YouTubers that like to use their Chromebooks. If you guys want to learn as well how to record and have a little bit more tips on Chromebooks and Chromeboxes, let me know. So anyways, in the game right here, we're playing on full screen, and the game itself is running pretty well in the most part. And of course, if you want the game to run even better, you can bring it back to tab mode. So the next game is Speed Racing Pro 2. This is by a developer called Madeline Games. They made a lot of other racing games. One of them was Madeline Stunt Cars 2, which I made a video for my favorite Chromebook game that you can get or play. So this is another one of their games. This is more of like a Gran Turismo style that they made. If you want to play the Stunt Cars one, you can as well. And there is another game that is multiplayer. Not too sure if they made any other games, but you could check out on Crazy Games for their WebGL games and such. This is still from that same website, just letting you guys know beforehand. So before you start up the actual match right here, after selecting your vehicle, there's a lot of cool vehicles you could choose from as well. But once you are done selecting how many bots you want, you'll be able to select a track that you want from the 6 that they have. So you do have a little bit of different variety when it comes to that, which is pretty nice. And the game itself runs very smoothly, even though a lot of other games I had were a little bit buggy and a little bit laggy, and performance was being used up like crazy. This game, for some reason, though, did a very good job, even on full screen. I didn't need to tab it at all. So this game should be able to run on most devices pretty easily, especially the ones that you have. So the next game that we have is Crazy Royale Battleground for any of those PUBG and Fortnite fans. This is actually a game that is more leaning towards PUBG, but it's a Minecraft style game, of course. People probably already known that this was a thing. The game itself takes up a lot of performance, so your Chromebook or Chromebox will be heavily used in this game, and you'll lag up a little bit, as you'll see right here. The game I recommend having in tab mode at all times. I want to put it in full screen, or else you're just going to be going through pictures upon pictures at low frame rates. The game itself is pretty impressive though, with a little bit of wind going around the trees and such, which is pretty nice. It's not like everything's static like you see in Minecraft. The guns in the game work very well. I like them a lot, and that's a game that you should definitely check out. Farm Fortress here, it's a top-down shooter, so if you're used to games like SAS, Zombie Assault, and many other games like that in the genre, then you'll probably like this as well. This game right here, though, is a little bit more towards survival, not really more towards just shooting up things and gunning away to complete the mission. So for this game, you're going to be having a little, use a little bit of tactics. Use whatever you want to do, you know what I mean, to get through the next round. The wave of goats and animals and such that try to get to you, or to the main center area, of course. The game does have a nice tutorial as well, so definitely check out the tutorial, and you should be pretty good to go on the most part. You won't really forget much. It's not really much that you have to remember for the game. The next game that we have here is Manyland. Manyland is actually a pretty fun game if you just want to explore around with what people built or what people put down around their areas. The game just has a lot of variety. It's a pretty good social game, I guess, if you want to go into any cool social games around there. Of course, there's Sonic right there. Look at him running at the speed of sound. So this game in general is pretty nice, and there's a lot of vehicles that you can ride as well. The game just has a crap ton of variety, and if you want to check out the trailer, which is what you see right here, then feel free to go right ahead. There's just a lot of really cool stuff that people made, and I like it a lot. So definitely check it out if you guys want to have friends and play with them on this, and whatever's fully up to you. Robo Run is our next game right here. This is just one of those games that feel very similar to Fly Penguins Fly. I believe that's what the game is called, something like that. This game right here, you're just upgrading your robot to run as far as you can. The story is pretty simple. It's basically just escaping a factory, and that's kind of like the main premise of it. So it does take a little bit to upgrade your robot, but as you get further and further on with upgrades, it does feel a lot better. The first like couple tries in the game, you're going to be like, what the freak, what kind of game is this? Because as you can see, you don't really run fast at all, you jump very low, and you don't really get anywhere. But once you start getting more and more upgrades, it'll start becoming a lot better, and you'll start getting more and more into the physics of the game, which is something that I find this game best for when it comes to physics. Once you upgrade more and more, it's a game that you can't really get into right away. It does take a little bit of time. So for the very next game that we're going to be having here in just a second is coming from SSEGA, or S-Sega, either way you want to put it. This website right here mostly is just an emulator website, which I find as probably the best website I ever used when it comes to emulation, or online emulation in this case, because there's so many categories of emulators on here, ranging from PS1, NES, and basically everything around that spectrum. Sadly no N64 though. The only 3D based emulator in there is the PS1, which I'll show you guys in a little bit on how that works. This website too does offer a lot of ROM hacks from Sonic if you're into that stuff. Of course, I'm very into it, so of course I'm going to love this website and everything. Definitely use the JavaScript emulator when you jump onto this, just because I find that the most stable. This game too is pretty nice. A lot of the games do run pretty well in here, and you should be able to get your full frame rate on here pretty easily, especially in full screen. So as you can see too on the bottom right, there's a lot of options that you could change about throughout the Sega emulator. It's all different for different emulators that you'll be using. So for example, when we get to the PS1 emulator, you'll definitely see that there's a couple different types of filters that you can use to graphically enhance your gameplay. So there's nothing really too much other than that when it comes to the PS1 emulator settings. And as you can see on here for the Sega settings on right here, you can change the filters as well, and it's kind of cool though when you get to try out the very old school style filter, because it feels very authentic and unique, just as this emulator alone, because it does give you that vibe of playing on like the older console. So definitely like feel free to mess around with this. It's actually pretty fun to use, and a lot of people don't really like using emulators all that much, like online ones, because a lot of them they just aren't big fans of. But I definitely prefer trying it out on here. It's very fun. The only thing that I don't like though when it comes to other emulators, not this one in particular, because this one doesn't have a save feature, but something like the PS1 doesn't have any save features for many reasons that they have, so definitely have to watch out when it comes down to saves. But this game right here, it's called Knuckles, Knuckles, and Knuckles. Very fun stuff. This is just one of the very fun games that you'd be able to try out. And definitely just look into it more, because there's just so many so much of a big variety of games for you to play from. It's insane. So here's the PS1 section of the website right here. As we can see, we got Tekken 3, Crash. We actually have Crash Racing. I think that's what it's called, like Crash CTR. Or just CTR in general. I think that's what the game is called. So the game right here, when you first start it up, it does take a little bit. You have to download it first, and then you have to let it compile. But once you actually have this fully downloaded, once you see the bar fully downloaded and everything like that, and you go back into the game again, at some point you don't have to download it again because it's already downloaded. It just has to compile. And compiling the game itself is very quick, so that's something that is really nice. So as you can see, we're in the gameplay right here. Usually, you know, by a PC person's perspective right here, it seems like it's running around 15 to 20 frames per second. It's not really too enjoyable, but it is at least somewhat playable in a way. So it's something that you guys should definitely just try out and see how well it runs on your Chromebook. If you have one of the higher end Chromebooks, it should be able to run pretty fine at maybe 30 FPS, which I believe is the highest frame rate you can get. I play this on my gaming PC, and it actually runs around 30 frames per second, which is fine enough with me, and it runs very well. So hopefully, if you guys have a higher end Chromebook, definitely try using the PS1 emulator out and letting me know how it runs for you. So the game itself right here is very fun. All the emulators usually run pretty well, as you can see from right here. There's no like big spikes or anything like that. So as you can see throughout this whole gameplay, it's just staying at a steady, smooth frame rate from like 15 to 20, which is just on how the performance of the Chromebox is that I have. So it's nothing really much I can change about it, but there's no big spikes coming from the website itself. The next game that we have here is called MK Carnage. MK Carnage is actually pretty fun. It's just a simple flash game that you can get from the Chrome Web Store, and it's just something that is just very enjoyable in a way to me. I really like the physics of the game. It'll feel very similar to maybe Mortal Kombat 3, around one of those titles. It'll feel very similar to that, but for some reason though, just fighting all the opponents in general, you'll just have like a fun feeling, because you can just keep juggling them out. Like, you can keep punching and everything like that, and just keep on smacking them, kind of like how Rocky is when you see him training in the movies. Because you could just keep doing this to him, as you can see. Like, I come up to Katana right here, and I just keep constantly hitting her right there. And it feels very nice, though. It feels very fluent with the game. There's no lag in the game in general as well, which is something that I find pretty important for when it comes to games like Mortal Kombat, such as this. So as you can see from right here, the game actually the game kind of feels like a regular Mortal Kombat game, but for a game on Chromebooks, it should be pretty fine on the most part. It feels pretty fun as well. And of course, for the game, the environment settings are pretty nice. It's something I don't pay attention mostly to in Mortal Kombat games, but it's something that looks very nice. The whole game in general doesn't feel too bad, and it's something that you guys should definitely try out if you're into that Mortal Kombat vibe. Or you can go on to the Sega website, or Sega website, and try out the GBA Mortal Kombat game, which kind of stinks. The next game here is Geometry Dash Sub-Zero. Before you play it, make sure you download Evernote, which is an Android application. It'll give you app runtime, which will enable you to run Android applications. Many people already have videos on it, so if you don't know how to do it from what I just said right there, just look up how to get app runtime, and it'll be easy and simple as that. So Geometry Dash Sub-Zero, it's available on the Chrome Web Store still, I believe, and if not, I will find a way to get it on there for you guys to play. The game is very fluent, and it's very smooth most of the time. There will be spikes here and there, but the game for some reason definitely runs smoothly. And of course, you can't use the spacebar to jump or anything. It's something that I wish you could do. Maybe there's an application that you'll be able to find that will enable you to do that. But for now, you'll only be able to just click on the screen basically, which still isn't too bad. It's a lot different than using your thumb when playing the game on the mobile version. So it's definitely something that you guys should play. The next game is Rovalina. I think that's how you say that. Of course, you're definitely going to get a certain vibe from this game, which we all know of already. The game itself right here is pretty fun. It's just a hard freaking boss fight, and It's very RPG based, as you can see. It's literally a very fun RPG battle. So as you can see, you're going to be using health items a lot more in this game than you would in most other games, because this game in general is just pretty difficult in my opinion, but it's something that if you want to rage from a game but try to beat it so badly, like you want to complete it so badly, this is definitely that type of game you should play. And it's a game that got me playing for a nice good hour to see how far I can get into trying to beat this boss right here. The next game is Territory Wars 3. The only thing that I do not like about this game right here is that it does take a little while to get used to the controls, but once you actually get used to the controls, the game is very fun. I definitely recommend playing the first and second game as well before you play the third right here. I had such a great time playing with friends at school and everything, so I would always put it up on the computer for that. This is another game that is available on the Chrome Web Store, but for some reason the Chrome Web Store version never loads, so I put up another link to another website for you guys to play, so you can just play it on here instead, so you don't have to go through what I went through for like 15-20 minutes trying to wait for the game to load. Darkorbit is the next game that we have on the list. This game is actually pretty fun, and I am pretty impressed on the graphics of the game, because you have a whole space environment around you, especially with some 3D structures. And if your Chromebox or Chromebook can't run this game, then you can go into the settings and set a 2D version, I believe, which will just have everything in more of a better perspective in a way for when it comes to trying to get performance or more performance out of your Chromebook or Chromebox. So from right here, I'm just shooting up some enemies right here. You'll get a lot of tasks in the game. When you get many of these tasks, you're just going to go off shooting enemies, or you're just going to keep helping your ship basically. The game is not too difficult in my opinion. As you can see, this is my very first encounter with enemies right here, and I'm not having too much trouble with it. I wouldn't recommend staying out of the into the red zone for too long, or else you will get pretty beat up. So it's probably best to take down a few enemies and then get back in. The last game that we have is Contra Noid. This is the very last game on the list right here. This is available on the Chrome Web Store. And this game is actually pretty fun. I like how retro it feels. You could set the game to 12 FPS if you really want to, if you want to get that vintage vibe. But in my opinion, just keep it set to, or off at 12. That's fully up to you. It's just very hard to play with 12. It's like a hard mode in a way. This game though is very addictive, and it's pretty fun. As you can see, you can slow down the opponent, or you could slow down yourself right here, depending if you pick up any power-ups or anything. And this is kind of like a Splatoon style slash Pong mix-up, because you're trying to get more blocks on the other enemy side. You're trying to get more your colors on the enemy side. So as you can see on the bottom, that's me, and I'm trying to get more from the enemy. So that's basically all the games right there. I'll have all the links in the description for these games. If you guys want to see another top 5 or top 10, just let me know. I know a lot of you guys definitely enjoy these Chrome Web Store or Chromebook / Chromebox videos, or Chrome OS videos in general. And if you want to see me do any more tutorials, just let me know. So anyways, have a great one guys, and this is Slim Shady Graphics out, and peace.